You ever stare at that empty practice field and wonder if the silence is louder than any roar could ever be? What if the heartbeat of Detroit's defense, the man who was supposed to tear through offensive lines like a freight train, isn't even starting training camp with us? What if the one they've been counting on, who made Jeremiah Osu-Koromoa look like a rookie at the NFL Combine, is suddenly ... not in the picture? Light up the comments if you're breathing this tension. As deep as I am, because whispers have turned into murmurs, and murmurs into rumors that chill every Lions fan down to the bone. Behind closed doors, something's shifting quietly but thunderously in Allen Park. And the pressure from the sideline isn't just from opponents. It's coming from the front office scrambling to protect the future of this fragile defense. Executives are holding their breath, scouts are recalibrating, and coaches are scanning tape not of what was, but of what might never be again, because the name stirring this storm isn't some journeyman or washed-up vet. It's Aiden Hutchinson, our No. 2 overall draft pick, the prodigy clawing back from one of the cruelest injuries football could throw at him, and the player the entire city rallied around when the sky looked darkest last season. Remember when Hutch was flying past quarterbacks, racking up sacks faster than you could blink, turning games, shifting momentum, carrying the pride and raw, untamed hope of Detroit through every snap. That same guy who stunned the league locking down pass rush stats that had Myles Garrett and T.J. Watt watching over their shoulders, now might be facing one of the most devastating blows yet, being shown the door before training camp even opens its gates. We've stared down heartbreak since '91, endured seasons where the scoreboard was a punchline, and battled through years where our grit was swallowed by doubt. But Hutch? He was the spark, the ignition to a Lions defense finally awakening. From a nightmare, the gridiron in Detroit isn't just turf and paint, it's a battleground, scarred by losses but alive with stories of redemption. From the ashes of the Caldwell years, this city learned to hope again, to clutch at every breakaway sack, every forced fumble like a talisman promising something better. So, what does it mean if the one player who embodied that hope isn't even in the locker room? What if it's too late to mend what was shattered? What if this silence isn't just a pause, but the sound of a window closing, a playoff dream slipping through our fingers before it even had a chance to truly begin? And what if the Lions are forced to turn away from their icon, a decision that could either shatter a foundation or ignite a fiery run even deeper than any of us dared to imagine? I want you to feel this, because this isn't just about contracts or injuries. It's a crossroads with the soul of Detroit hanging in the balance. It's about whether we're ready to let go of a hero before his story is finished. Hutchinson said he's exactly where he needs to be physically, that every year he grows stronger in body and mind, that the steps to greatness are marked with setbacks. But can that comeback happen on someone else's timetable? Can Hutch take the pain, push through the silence, and rise in time to wear the Lions' defense like a crown this fall? Or will we be forced to watch from the sidelines as this Lions roar fades into a whisper? And here's the kicker. If this domino falls, if Hutchinson is truly sidelined from the start, you won't believe who Detroit turns to next. Because if this move hits, if the gamble is real, the Lions aren't just playing for pride anymore, they're coming for blood. And now the fuse is lit. All that's left is to wait for the explosion. Enough silence. Roar now or forever be forgotten. Are you feeling this? Because Detroit is perched on the edge of a chasm that only true Lions fans can comprehend, a precipice shaped by the echoes of past heartbreaks, the ghosts of seasons lost in the haze of what could have been, punctuated by moments that tore our city apart and yet somehow hardened us all 0-16. Jim Caldwell's firing, Calvin Johnson's retirement, Barry Sanders' quiet departure into the sunset. Seasons so brutal, they left scars deeper than the Motor City steel. We've seen the worst, felt the kind of pain that sears into your soul, but we also saw flashes of redemption last year's playoff push. A flickering hope that maybe this time, Detroit, the city that refuses to die, might finally break free from the chains of history. But now, racing through every fiber of my being, is the gnawing idea that what we fought for, the future, the pride, the salvation might be slipping away right before our very eyes. Hutchinson, the crown jewel of our defenses, the young lion roaring with the raw ferocity that made us believe in something bigger than ourselves. What if that roar is silenced before it even begins? The whispers say he's hurt, that a setback, so fresh it's like a wound reopening injury that could derail the entire season and shatter every hope we clutched so desperately. I remember the fierce electricity when Hutch was drafted, the visions of him tearing through offensive lines, the roar of the crowd at Ford Field echoing his name with the certainty that Detroit had finally unearthed the superstar destined for greatness. I remember the promise, the belief, the way he lifted our spirits when nothing else could. And now, it's a different story. The management, the scouts, the coaches, they're all walking on eggshells, analyzing every inch of tape, trying to decipher whether he'll be ready, whether his return is merely delayed, or if the damage is like a bomb ticking in the dark, waiting to go off without warning. Because if Hutch is out, if that spark, that unstoppable force that drives our pass rush, is extinguished before the season even begins, what are we left with? I keep seeing flashes of the past, the games where the lines were so close yet always missing a key piece, always falling just short, always holding on to hope in the dark, hope that Barry would carry us, hope that Calvin would lead us to glory, hope that Stafford's arm would finally break through the ceiling, only to be crushed again and again by the cruel hand of fate. What do we do if this isn't just a setback? What if it's a sign that our defense, the backbone we believe will carry our resurgence, is crumbling from within? Could we really be staring down a season where Hutchinson's heroics are nothing more than a memory? Or worse, what if this injury isn't just a lazy muscle strain or a minor tweak? What if it's something far more sinister, a torn ligament, a stress fracture, something that can't be fixed overnight? I keep dreaming of those moments when Hutch rushed the passer, when he dismantled offenses with a speed and power that seemed almost supernatural. Those moments built up years of hope that Detroit might finally shed its skid marks, start a new chapter where the defense was no longer a liability but a weapon. Now, that hope flickers like a dying ember, and every new report, every whispered rumor, threatens to snuff it out completely. This is bigger than a game. Bigger than one player's injury. This is about the soul of a franchise that survived. Dynasty collapses, devastating collapses in the playoffs, and the relentless scorn of doubters who say Detroit is cursed, that our glory days are just illusions. And I know, deep down, that if Hutch's potential isn't just delayed but derailed entirely, the ripple effects will shake our foundation to its core. Because the NFC North, the rivals Green Bay, Chicago, Minnesota, they're all watching, waiting, sensing blood in the water. And the front office? They're clutching their suits, weighing their options, possibly even looking at contingency plans that threaten to pivot everything we've built. We've seen similar stories before: a star's injury changing the course of a season, an untouchable piece falling before the puzzle is complete, a franchise scrambling to stay afloat in the storm. Remember when Stafford was almost out of Detroit, how everyone panicked, how hope was thin? Or last season, when Jared Goff carried us, defying skepticism, reminding us of our grit. But now there's a darkness creeping in, one that feels almost biblical, and ominous shadow cast by a fractured future. If Hutch doesn't come back, if he stumbles, if he's forced to watch from the sideline, does this city accept another chapter of disappointment? Or does it fuel a fiery revenge that burns hotter than ever? Because I can't shake the feeling that this isn't just about an injury. It's about the legacy we're fighting to preserve. Whether Detroit will finally break free from its scars or be forever haunted by what might have been. And as I stare at the horizon, I see the ultimate test looming: an all-or-nothing battle, a war the city's been waiting for since 1957. With only one question left burning in my mind: if Hutchinson's roar fades, who or what will be left to carry the torch into the storm? And are we truly prepared for what's coming?